with an amazing surprise guest,
Ashley Schaffner.
She is from CSO. And today we'll be asking her some questions. First, what is STEM?
So STEM is an acronym, stands for Science, Technology, Engineering, and Math. But really, it's a lot more than that. It's about how you think critically and how you solve problems and how you approach real world issues in a way where you're like, we're going to figure out how to solve this.
Mm-hmm. I like that. Okay. My question is, what is one thing that you didn't expect when you first started your job?
So in my position, I kind of have two responsibilities. I'm the regional hub coordinator for the Idaho STEM ecosystem, which is a big job. But as part of that, I get to be a cabinet coordinator for chief science officers. And one of the things that I didn't expect getting into that is for CSOs, it's 6th through 12th grade. And I always worked with little kids, so I'm used to having to be like a huge support, really help them through a lot of things. And it's been really fun to watch CSOs like you guys just come up with these ideas on your own and really enact them and make a difference in the world of STEM, which has been really, really fun to see. I didn't expect it, but it's been really great.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, my question is, what is your favorite color and why?
My favorite color is purple. I think it's because when I was younger, it was like, well, if you're a girl, you have to like pink, and if you're a boy, you have to like blue. And I'm like, well, I don't want to do what everyone else says I have to do. So I went with purple, and then it just kind of stuck.
What STEM books do you recommend?
There's a lot of good STEM books, guys. One of my favorite is How to Code a Sandcastle. Have any of you read that one? It's fun. So it's a picture book, so it's an easy read. But it's about this little girl who has a robot and she wants to build a sandcastle, and it kind of goes through the process of coding as she tries to figure out how to build the sandcastle, and it's really silly. It's a silly one.
So what is your part in CSO?
So I am a cabinet coordinator, which means that I get to help be in charge of all of the sites in South and Eastern Idaho that have CSOs. So it's like CSO International is up here, and they take care of everybody in the whole world that does CSO. And then we have a regional lead who helps the cabinet coordinators, and then there's us, and then there's all of the advisors in our areas. So we help support them, and they help support you guys.
So can you explain CSO and how it was how it came to be?
So I can speak to how it came to be in Idaho. I don't know the bigger story, but CSO is a program for 6th through 12th grade students where they get to be leaders in STEM in their communities or schools. And in Idaho, we formed, how long ago was it? 2.5 years ago, which was really weird because we started in the middle of a year. We were just like, hey, schools that we know, guys want to join us? And we had a few schools that did, which was fabulous. But it came about because there was this call for more student voice in the things we were doing statewide. Like, we're doing all of this STEM work. Yeah. And if we don't talk to you guys about what you want or what you see as a need or what you enjoy doing, it's kind of pointless for us to do this work, right?
Yeah.
So there was this call for more student voice. And we found the CSO program, which had already been going. And so this really cool guy, his name's John McFarland, helped bring it to Idaho. And he was our first regional lead. And then we jumped in and went from there. And this is our third round of CSOs. And it's been really fun to watch it grow and to see some of the really cool things that have come out of it.
Awesome. So my question is, what is the most important lesson you've learned from working as a CSO?
So one of the most important lessons I've learned through the CSO program is don't just hope it happens, make it happen. It's kind of their motto, right? There's a lot of things we're like, oh, how cool would it be to see this? But in order for that to happen, somebody has to do it, right? And so being that person where I'm like, ooh, what if we did this? And then starting the steps to make that happen. You can't always do it on your own, but if you start that process, then other people get excited about it too.
Yeah, that's awesome.
What was your biggest failure?
I have had a lot of failures. It's part of life, I think. I think you have to fail,
what makes you better.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Mistakes make you learn from mistakes.
Yes. Yep. At least hopefully, if you're doing it right, you learn from those mistakes. I think one thing that I did in this position that was like one of my biggest failures is in the CSO program, I got really excited about the concept of it. And so I went to schools and I was like, this is cool, join me. And then they did because they got excited because I was excited. But then I didn't know what I was doing. And so I lost a couple schools, or I had schools that signed up and we never got CSOs there because we didn't know what we were doing. But I learned from that. And so I made sure that when I went to schools, I'm like, okay, here's what we're doing. Here's how we do that. Here's what I'm going to need from you. And it's been a lot more successful.
Yeah.
What's your favorite memory of STEM when you were younger?
One of my favorite memories of STEM when I was younger is when I was, how old was I? Like second grade, I think. We were selling our house and we had our realtor come and he brought us all of these cardboard boxes and they came together. There weren't like instructions, but they came together to build a house, a little cardboard house.
Oh, that's cool.
And so getting to kind of build that and figure it out and piece it together was really, really fun. I did it with my sister and then we had that house for years. Like we just kept it in our basement.
That's fun. How long have you been a part of CSO?
So I've been a part of CSO for about 2.5 years. As long as we've had it in Idaho, I've been able to be a part of it, which is cool. Got to be there from the start.
That's cool.
What made you want to join STEM and like CSO and stuff?
So with STEM, I was a teacher before I was in this position. And as part of that, I was handed computer lab for first graders. And so I developed a coding and computer science curriculum for littles, kindergarten through second grade. And that was kind of my first step into STEM and watching them grow and be really excited about being able to code computers, which is like a big kid thing, right? Yeah. Really got me excited. And then for CSO, part of it was like, you have to, right? Because it was my job and they're like, this is now part of your job. But I get so excited about it because I did start as a teacher. And so this gives me an opportunity to work with students again and really interact and see the amazing humans that you guys are.
So if you could start any business tomorrow, what would it be?
If I could start any business tomorrow, I would probably start a bookstore because I love reading and I love books and I love being surrounded by books. That I would probably start a bookstore.
Too. We're in a book club.
Yeah, it's
Nice.
called Battle of the Books.
Yeah.
Well, that's cool. What are you guys reading right now? Are you reading a book right now?
We're reading multiple books. So it's like a competition. So we all there's so many groups of kids and there's amount of books
We have to
read.
read 8 books, I think.
Yeah, and then there's a competition at the end. Just like
Just how much you know about the book.
Yeah, like
Well, that's cool.
So we all read like each book and like talk about it at the end. Yeah.
Nice. Well, that sounds fun.
Yeah.
I like
Yeah.
that.
When did you first start to be interested in STEM?
Like seriously interested where I knew I wanted it to be my career was probably when I was teaching first grade and developed that curriculum.
If you could go back and give your 10-year-old self advice, what would it be?
Probably not to stress so much about making things perfect and having them be right the first time. I've been a perfectionist for a long time, and it's taken me until I was an adult to be like, it's okay to fail. It's okay to mess up. That's where we learn. That's how we get better. But when I was little, that was not the case. I was like, if I fail, I am a failure, and that is it, and that is the end. And so,
that's Emma. That's Emma.
So what are some STEM jobs that people can have?
ooh, there are all sorts of STEM jobs. So one of the biggest ones nationwide that's needed right now is anything in the medical field. So nurses, pediatricians, doctors, all of those, even in dental hygienists and dentists and all of that is huge. There's also a big need for coding skills, which is not always like specifically a coder, but having the ability to understand code, at least at some level, is huge because a lot of jobs need it now. There's a lot of times where something will go wrong And if you know at least a little bit of code, even in agriculture, you can like fix your tractor to keep doing what it's supposed to be doing versus having to call somebody in and pay them like hundreds of thousands of dollars to fix, right?
Yeah. So, like, what advice would you have for someone who's new to STEM or wanting to, like, be part of STEM?
So if you're new to STEM, if you've already found us something, but you're new, like just keep going. You're not going to be perfect at it the first time. You're going to mess up, and that's the joy in STEM, is that you get to mess up and try again, because there isn't a right answer to anything in STEM.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of ways to approach things, but there is not, this is the only way.
Yeah, definitely.
If you're looking to get into STEM, I would say just reach out, look around. A lot of schools have a lot of STEM things. If your school doesn't have anything, talk to your libraries. A lot of times libraries are really involved in STEM, and they have little like after school STEM programs, or take this STEM activity home and try it. And so just kind of look around, see what's going on in your community. And if there really is nothing, then reach out to me, because there's probably something you just don't see it.
Yeah.
Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
I think in 5 years, sometimes it depends on the outside life, but I would like to become, so in my organization that I work for, in the ecosystem, I'm a hub coordinator, which means I oversee this part of the state. I think in 5 years, it would be really cool to see our current program coordinator, who oversees statewide initiatives, move up into executive director, because our executive director she wants to retire one day soon, which I love. So she'll retire. Our program coordinator will move up, and I would love to be in that position where I can have an even bigger impact on schools across the state.
It's awesome that you care that much about this.
Yeah. What was your favorite subject in school?
I loved history. So my degree is actually elementary education with an emphasis in history, which is kind of crazy that like the way the world happened and I'm in STEM now. But that was my favorite subject growing up.
Okay. So you talked about how you have an elementary school degree. How much schooling do you actually need for your job?
So for the position I'm in, you have to have a bachelor's degree. So that's 4 years. But in a lot of STEM in general is really cool, because you can have right out of high school and be in a STEM career. You can do where you do an apprenticeship and be in a STEM career. You can do an internship and be in a STEM career. You can go to school for 2 years and be in a STEM career. You can go for 4 years. So
For 12 years and be
you can go
doctor.
for 12 years. Yeah. So if you are like a really good student and you love being at school, that's fabulous. And you can go into one of those positions. But if you're not, if you're like, after I'm done with high school and I'm done with what I have to do, I am done. I want to be done. There's still STEM careers and STEM jobs that you can get into with that.
Yeah.
So I think that's all we have time for today. Is there anything else that you want to bring up or anything?
I don't think so. Just
Do you have any questions for us?
questions for you. I do. So I know you guys keep me a little bit updated, but IDX has like officially gone out. The theme has gone out.
Yeah.
Do you guys have plans? Have you already started
Yeah.
working on
Yeah,
things?
So, okay, this is actually a funny story because we had a plan.
We were
and
so set.
We were like
set on
ahead.
it.
We had like our prototype and everything ready.
We were gonna
And
print.
And then Miss Johnson ended up, and we thought like it didn't exist. Like we thought it up.
It was stem
And
cells.
we didn't think it existed. Yeah, it was like a stem cell bandage. And Miss Johnson called like one of her veterinary friends, yeah. And it apparently already exists. So we
We
had
were
to,
super disappointed.
yeah, we were super disappointed. We had to come up with like a whole new idea. Want to say what our idea is now?
Our idea is, so instead of having to travel to a vet's office just to figure out what's wrong with your animal, there's like a little needle that you can stick in, and then there's a microchip inside of it, and it rolls out and flattens, and then it like, instead of having to wait like a couple days to figure out what the problem is, you can just wait in like 5 minutes.
And you can pull it up on your computer or your phone. Like, oh,
And
it'll
like there's an
tell
app
you,
that
like,
connects
yeah.
to it.
Yeah, it'll tell you like the problems with the animal.
That's really cool. That would be nice too, to just like
Yeah, and then if
have
you
this
know
quick
it's serious.
diagnosis to know if you need to take them,
Yeah,
especially if you live in like a rural area
Yeah,
where you're
exactly.
not
That's why-
super
that's what I was
close.
thinking.
Like
Yeah.
Aberdeen.
You like
live
Aberdeen?
far, like, we live far out that way, so it takes like
Yeah, you
45
don't want to
minutes,
take like a
45
whole horse to the vet.
For them to be
Yeah.
like, oh, it's fine. She's just dehydrated.
Exactly. So tell us a little bit about yourself, like personally.
Okay.
So I was born and raised in Pocatello. Went to school there, went to college there, went to ISU, which is a really fabulous option. Got my teaching degree, and then I taught for 7 years in Blackfoot, and then I taught for a couple years in Pocatello before I got into this position, which was really fun and was how I got into this position. And then, let's see, I have one little boy. He's 6. He's in first grade. He has like no front teeth anymore because they all just fell out in the last month. And I have 2 dogs and like 6 fish.
Oh, wow.
And yeah,
That's nice.
Yeah.
Okay, Pickle Pals, if you have any questions for Ashley in the comments, feel free. And don't forget to like and subscribe.
For Elmer, do it for Elmer.
Oh. Bye, Pickle Pals.
Bye.